Hi, good morning friends. Today, let us discuss on evolution of management thoughts. We can say that management thoughts and the concept of management are as old as human history. These thoughts have evolved and are in the continuous process of evolution. The development of management thought has been evolutionary in nature and can be categorized into four parts: pre scientific management era before 1880, classical management era 1880 to 1930, neoclassical management era 1930 to 1960, and modern management era from 1950 onwards. Let us move through all these thoughts. First one, pre-scientific management era before 1880. We can say that it's an early perspectives. Way back in 3000 or 4000 BC, the Egyptian rulers had practiced management in all their activities. There were valuable contributions were made by churches, military organizations, etc. A school of thought emerged in this era is known as pre-scientific management school. Second one, after 1880s to 1930, the era known as classical management era. Rational approach, scientific management, administrative principles, and bureaucratic organizations are the highlights of this era. The classical perspective emerged in the 19th and early 20th century. In the factory system, managers had the challenge of coordinating huge or unskilled labor force with complex production systems and an expensive manufacturing operation. So the classical theorists like F.W. Taylor and Henry Fayol concentrated on organizational structure for the accomplishment of organizational goals. F.W. Taylor's solution was the scientific management approach, which proposed that productivity could be improved only by a series of precise procedures developed from a scientific observation of a situation. That's why F.W. Taylor was considered to be the father of scientific management. Taylor's scientific management is based on certain principles which were stated as management is a science and not the rule of thumb. Harmony should be created in the organization, not discord. There should be proper cooperation among the employees of an organization, not individualism. Therefore, development of each and every person to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. So that we can see that F.W. Taylor defines scientific management, which means knowing exactly what you want men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. Next comes Henry Fayol, who defined the administrative theory of management. He is also popularly known as father of general management. His major contributions were: he classified all the business activities into two, as technical and managerial. Secondly, he identified management functions that constitute the management process, such as planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. Thirdly, he developed 14 principles of management. This approach standardized labor and training, employee hiring, and tied compensation to increased productivity, which was highly successful. This approach did not take into consideration about the diversity of abilities of the employees and needs within the workforce. That's why it's known as classical management era. Third one, neoclassical management era from 1930 to 1960. The neoclassical writers like Elton Mayo and Chester I. Bernard tried to improve upon the theories of classical writers. This suggested improvements for good human relations in the organization. A crucial turn or shift in management philosophy came in the 1920s with a new emphasis on human behaviors, needs, and attitudes in the workplace over the economy and efficiency of production. So, during this neoclassical theory, it is also known as human relations approach. The real inspiration for the movement came from the HAWTHORNE experiments done by Professor Elton Mayo and his colleagues. HAWTHORNE studies. The aim of this study was to study the effects of work environment on the productivity. Around 5 studies were conducted, and one of the famous study was experiments on illumination. Different lighting arrangements was done in for different teams of an organization, and they were studied regarding their productivity, hours of work, changes in their working condition, employees' attitude, rest time, fatigue, etc. These experiments or new way of thinking led the way for the human resource perspective, which saw workers as a resource to be fully utilized. It opposed workers being exploited. It suggested that beyond the need of worker inclusion and supportive leadership, organizations should design jobs to meet the higher needs of their employees and utilize their full potential. These perspectives create the way for the role that human relations departments play in organizations today. There were behavioral science approach or organizational humanism, which was much explained through McGregor's theory, Maslow's need hierarchy, Herzberg's two-factor theory, Likert scale, etc., which used knowledge of psychology, sociology, and anthropology to develop this approach. Modern management era from 1950 onwards. Many of today's management perspectives grew out of adaptations of the humanistic perspective. One such perspective is the systems theory. This approach insists on research and operations and use of quantitative techniques to aid managers in taking decisions. This system theory, which views an organization as a series of interconnected systems that affect and are affected by each other. The modern management thinkers like Robert Schleifer and Herbert Simon define organization as a system. So all of them considers modern organization as complex systems and underlies contingency approach and use of modern techniques to solve organizational as well as human problems. So they also consider the impact of environment on the effectiveness of the organization. The social system school, the decision theory school, the quantitative management school, the systems management school, etc. are the contributions of modern management era. Thank you.